Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most critical and honestly often overlooked parts of AI readiness, figuring out how an organization is really handling ethical AI and bias. Now, for any stakeholder, this isn't just about feeling good, it's about spotting huge material risks before they blow up.
All right, just a quick heads up. What you're seeing is part 8 of a 15-part series. It's all based on a really comprehensive report by Virtualization Options LLC. We're just scratching the surface here, so please remember, this is for informational purposes only. It's not legal or financial advice. Always do your own professional due diligence. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump in.
So let's kick things off with a big question that every single investor, board member, or regulator really ought to be asking. What is the single biggest blind spot in your AI investment? You know, it's probably not in the code itself or the server costs. It's buried deep in the ethics, or the lack of them. And that leads us to a really crucial way to reframe this. Thinking about ethical AI as just some nice-to-have feature is a massive, massive mistake. A much better way to think about it is like a firewall. It's a core piece of your risk management strategy that protects the whole company. And look, this isn't just some academic theory. As the research points out, the consequences are very real. We're talking about public backlash, huge regulatory fines, and customers just walking away. Neglecting AI ethics is a direct line to destroying value. It's a recipe for disaster. So, to get a handle on this risk, you've got to know what you're up against. Bias in AI? It's not always written in big, bold letters. It's more like these invisible fractures in a system's logic that can cause the whole thing to come crashing down. So let's break down some of the most common types. First up, you've got historical bias. Let's say you train an AI on a decade of hiring data from a tech company that, well, mostly hired men. The AI is going to learn that men are the right answer. So it's not just learning from history, it's actually hard coding those old prejudices right into the future. Next is representation bias. This is what happens when the data you feed the model just doesn't look like the real world. The classic example is a facial recognition system that's trained mostly on one demographic. It then completely fails to identify people from other groups. So the system isn't just unfair, right? It's fundamentally broken for a huge chunk of its users. And that flows right into measurement bias. This is a sneaky one. It's where the problem is that you chose the wrong thing to measure in the first place. For example, an algorithm was built to predict who would need more healthcare in the future, but it used past healthcare spending to figure that out. Well, because some groups have had less access to care, they spent less. The AI took that to mean they were healthier and systematically denied them the extra care they actually needed. Totally backward. Then you've got aggregation bias. This is really the danger of making things too simple. An organization might build one single model for all of its customers. But if those customers are actually made up of very different groups with different needs and behaviors, that model will be wrong for pretty much everyone. It's a classic one-size-fits-none situation. And finally, there's evaluation bias. This happens when a company has good intentions, but they test their shiny new fair AI against a benchmark that is itself biased. It creates this false sense of security. The system passes the test with flying colors in the lab, but then it completely face-plants out in the real world. So you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Let's just measure fairness and get on with fixing it. But, and this is a huge but, it's way more complicated than that. There is no single agreed upon mathematical definition of what fair even means. And get this, some of the most common definitions actually contradict each other. This slide really gets to the heart of the problem. On one side, you have an idea called demographic parity. That basically says a loan algorithm should approve, say, 10% of applicants from every single demographic group, period. But on the other side, you have equalized odds, which says the model should be equally accurate for all groups. You literally cannot optimize for both of those things at the same time. It's a mathematical impossibility. Okay, so here's the bottom line for you as a stakeholder. When a company tells you their AI is fair, your very next question has to be, by which definition, and why did you pick that one? This is not a technical detail you can just leave to the engineers. It is a straight-up value judgment that has massive business and ethical consequences. So, with all that complexity, what do the smart, mature organizations do? How do they actually solve this? Well, they don't wait until the end and try to slap a Band-Aid on bias. They build fairness into the entire AI lifecycle, from the very first step.
A truly ready organization is going to have a framework that looks a lot like this. And it's a constant cycle. First, they audit their data collection, actively hunting for those historical biases. Second, they prepare the data, using techniques to fix imbalances before the model ever sees it. Third, when they're training the model, they're actually building fairness rules right into the algorithm. Fourth, they evaluate it for disparate impact, not just for overall accuracy. And finally, and this part is absolutely crucial, they keep monitoring these fairness metrics nonstop after deployment. Because guess what? The world changes and bias can always creep back in.
But here's the thing. Even if you nail all of that, a perfectly unbiased algorithm, it's still not the whole story. Getting rid of bias is just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. The real goal here is building AI that people can actually trust. And that means you have to look at the entire ethical health of the organization. So when you're doing your due diligence, this is basically your cheat sheet. Can they actually explain how their system works, or is it a total black box? Is it crystal clear who's on the hook when it messes up? How serious are they about protecting data? Is there a real human in the loop with the power to say no? And are they actually talking to the communities their AI is going to affect? The answers to these questions will tell you everything. And all of this boils down to one final critical question to guide your thinking. After all the slick presentations and impressive demos are over, you have to ask yourself, is this organization's AI ethical by design because they've intentionally built the culture, the controls, and the frameworks to make it that way? Or is it just ethical by accident, waiting for the right set of circumstances to fail spectacularly? The answer to that question, well, that's going to tell you almost everything you need to know.